I'm going to mute the background in the meantime for you guys because I have Overwatch skewed up. But the first thing I want to do is go over these patch notes because it's finally time and I can finally unleash my actual rage at these patch notes. Quite possibly some of the worst patch notes I've ever seen. All right, let's get into it. First up, Ramattra is talking about coming out, and Shambali, don't really care. Control game mode fix. So it seems like basically, okay, so we fixed a bug in overtime control maps. However, the bug fix led to other bugs we had to resolve. Ultimately, this led to an anticlimactic gameplay result that we weren't happy with. After hearing player feedback, we made the following changes. Whenever a point is captured on control, the losing team of the control point counts as having contested the point for the purpose of overtime if they were not present. So from this, what this says is it sounds like they're reverting it back to how it was in Overwatch 1, where if you have 90, if a team has 99 on the enemy team, and let's say you have 50, and the 99 team flips it, then you automatically used to lose. You didn't have a chance to contest if you hadn't touched it. Now it will trigger overtime again. That's how it worked in Overwatch 1, and it seems they brought that back. They added hero challenges for Junker Queen, Sojourn, and Kiriko. We'll check those out, see what those look like. Basically for ways for you to unlock them. Shop change. They added a hero purchase tab in the shop. So I guess if you don't feel like doing the challenge, you can just buy the character. Anyways. There's new name cards for like top 500. I'll see if we can show that. Implemented a group of matchmaking enhancements to improve match quality. Minor improvements to UI competitive game flow. And Ramattra won't be available for 2 weeks. Okay. So, Ramattra we've already covered a little bit. I already made a video about him, so I'm not going to go too far into him. They don't even give damage numbers here, but the big one is the DPS roll passive has been changed. It's no longer gives movement speed, and the reload bonus is from 25 to 35. I don't think they needed to make it 35. I think 25 was just fine and remove the speed boost. I don't think 35. I think 35 is going to be kind of bonkers. But anyways, let's move on. We have entered the age of Godfist. I wasn't able to tell you guys about patch note stuff until now. So I had to kind of keep it to myself. But I am real. This is probably some of the most infuriating patch notes I've ever read. If you are a support player, good luck. You're going to be playing Dead by Daylight this season. You don't understand what I'm saying? Let me start reading it to you. First up, Doomfist. I'm not even going to read the... all right, we'll read the developer content. That's fine. There are several changes here for Doomfist with the intent to increase his presence and disruptive brawl-style tank. This buff to his passive ability will help him stay in the fight longer, especially with the multiple enemies. Changes to Power Block, Meteor Strike... are available in PowerPoint. Honestly, this is just dumb. Honestly, I actually don't. I literally don't want to hear it. We already listened to the Twitter space earlier, and that was ridiculous. Let's get into the actual changes. Impact damage range, minimum, maximum, increased from 15 to 30 to 25 to 50. So basically, if you get full punched by a regular punch, not the empowered, you would take 15 to 30 damage. You now take 25 to 50 damage, which is a pretty heavy increase by getting hit by it, by the punch. Walled slam damage range, minimum maximum, reduced from 20 to 40 to 10 to 30. So how far you would fly back into hitting the wall. So before, with full charge punch, you could go back 20, 40 meters. Now, sorry, no, not the damage. When you hit the wall, you take 10 to 30 damage instead of 20 to 40. So basically, Doomfist's regular punches are going to hit you much harder. The damage you take from the wall is less. Which the wall part was kind of like what saved you from his regular punches being bad. But that's not all. Empowered Rocket Punch will wall slam duration range reduced from 0.5 to 0.1 to 0.25, 0.75. So basically how long you slam against the wall in Empowerment Punch, it went from 0.5 to 0.1 to 0.25 to 0.75. So basically if you get hit by a full charged Empowerment Fist, instead of being stunned for a whole second, you'll only be stunned for 0.75 seconds. That sounds great, right? Non-empowered Rocket Punch now stuns for the minimum 0.25 second duration on wall slam. So if you get punched into a wall with regular punch, you are now stunned. Hear this again. Regular punch now stuns you for 0.25 seconds. Not empowered, regular punch. Current punch didn't work like that. You didn't get stunned from it. You now do. Empowered Rocket Punch knockback radius reduced from 4 to 3 meters. So you don't go as flying back as far, but it's still there. It's still pretty far. Minimum time before, actually, knockback radius. I think that might be the cone. Is that the cone? It might be the cone. Like how big of targets are. So like if you stacked up and it like slammed everyone back, it might be that actually. I'm actually unsure on that one. I'll have to test it. Minimum time before cancel option becomes available, reduced from 0.25 to 0.12. So basically how long till you can cancel punch. They made it slower, or sorry, they made it faster. So you can start charging and then just insta cancel it a lot better. Cooldown reduced from 4 to 3 seconds. This already was in the game, but it hadn't been mentioned. It was like a sneaky shadow buff, or they just forgot. But that's not all. Now we get crazy. Cooldown reduced on power block for 8 to 7 seconds. Duration increased from 2 to 2.5 seconds. Minimum damage mitigated required to empower Rocket Punch were reduced from 90 to 80 damage. So you remember how we were just saying how Rocket Punch or Empowered Punch does a little bit less stun and a little bit less damage? You will be getting it far more often. Meteor Strike now empowers Rocket Punch on landing. So if you have no Empowerment Punch and then you ult, when you come back down, you have Empowered Punch. Not all. Enemy slow duration increased from 2 to 3 seconds. So when you hit the ground and you get hit by Doom Ult, you're slowed for 2 seconds. You're now slowed for 3 seconds. And he has Empowerment Fist. But that's not all. Maximum temporary health increased from 150 to 200 health. And that's not all. Temporary health gained per target hit with abilities increased from 30 to 40 health. You can actually, unironically, go through whole fights with Everett not having a cooldown. I've talked to Sam. I talked to Quake. Dude, you can literally slam in with your E, punch out, or you don't even have to anymore. You can actually punch in, block, because the block not only lasts 2 seconds now, it's 2.5 seconds. And it's less for Empowerment Punch. So realistically, you can slam, punch, block, Empowerment Punch, slam again, and then have punch again. So this is how the fight will work. Ready? You start the fight. You get slammed, punched, block. You gave them Empowerment Punch. They punch you again. They slam you again. And then you have punch to decide, do you want to go back in and finish a kill? Or get out, wait 4 seconds, and then come back in. Think about that. You will have after a full Doomfist cooldown rotation, all the way back through to the slam, you will have 4 seconds until the Doomfist is back. And if he has ultimate, that whole rotation actually doesn't stop. Because, so you slam, punch in or punch out, but if you punch in, block, 2.5 seconds, get Empowerment Punch, punch again, slam again, punch again, ult, come down, because don't forget, the ult still makes it so that your cooldowns go, I think it's 100% or 50% faster off cooldown. So your cooldowns are coming off faster, and you have Empowerment Punch, so you can land and then either slam or punch. Don't forget, you have a 3-second stun now. The 3-second slow duration. Punch again, slam again, block again, punch again, and then either jump out with your slam or jump back in. And if you go high enough, you can come down with another punch and then punch out if you need to. You get 2 or 3 full cooldown rotations. And don't forget, regular punch stuns you now. So not just Empowerment Punch stuns you, regular punch stuns you. So it's punch, stun, it's slam, stun, block, stun, slam, punch out. Or slam, stun, punch, block, punch, stunned, slam, punch again, stunned again, ult up, come down, slowed, stunned by the Empowerment Punch, slam, block, punch again. You're stunned for like minutes. You don't understand. Quake literally tank diffed Hawk, arguably the best tank in Overwatch League, playing Ramattra on Doomfist. You don't understand. It is bad. This character got so gigabuffed, it's not even funny. And this isn't even the start of the rage. Junker Queen, you're not gonna believe this. Junker Queen, torso and head hit volume increased by 12%. Her torso and head hitboxes are increased by 12%. That is a major nerf. Rampage, so her ult, Wound duration reduced from 5 to 4.5 seconds. So a small nerf on how long it exists. Ultimate cost reduced by 10%. Trade-off. Commanding Shout cooldown reduced from 15 to 14. Buff. Doesn't really do anything, but it's a buff. Adrenaline passive. Passive healing multiplier increased from 1 to 1.25. Do you know what that means? So when you knife somebody, you threw the knife or you meleeed, you did 15 damage to them over time. That would heal you, right? It was nothing, but it was something, right? 15 damage. It's now 19. So when you hit someone with a knife, you will get 19 healing over time instead of 15 healing over time. Wow. And she's 12% bigger to hit? I actually think she got nerfed. I'm not even joking. I actually think this is an overall a net nerf. Because they made her easier to hit. They made her easier to shoot. That's a 12% increase is pretty large. A 12% increase means she's going to take more damage. If you make someone's hitbox bigger, that means they take more damage. So you increase this very, very marginal, very tiny amount of healing that she ends up doing, or damage, like 4 damage over time, and then increase the amount of damage she's going to be taking by increasing her hitbox. That's a net nerf. In my opinion, that's a net nerf. I wouldn't say it's a big net nerf, but I would say it is a nerf. When she was supposed to be buffed and improved, I would say it's actually, like, overall weighing everything, I'd say it's a net nerf. That's my opinion. Bastion. Bastion's actually kind of funny. So they changed his artillery. Delay before projectile drops reduced from 1 to 0.6, so it actually lands faster. It doesn't take as long, which is nice. W. Anyways, explosion damage reduced from 300 to 250. This is actually a decent change because it's hitting the ground faster, so, like, less damage. It probably, so you're just not, like, one-tapping, tanks, because you could basically just, like, you could just go boom, boom, boom on a tank and they'd probably just explode. If it was 900. So, like, you know what I mean? Because, like, even this nerf is, like, 150 damage less. Like, a lot of tanks can end up surviving that with armor, and then, like, if you get 3 tapped by it, you're dead. But 2 tapped is different. So, like, at 200, at 600, it'd be much different than, at 500. So, like, I think this is mostly to make sure you don't, like, one-tap tanks with the ult. No longer deals explosion damage to himself. That's ultimate only. The right-click still does damage to him. Minimum delay between placing shots reduced by 20%, so you can just go boom, boom, boom a little bit faster. The reconfigure cooldown reduced from 12 to 10 seconds. I actually think Bastion's low-key pretty strong. I think Bastion's actually low-key pretty strong. I think he's going to be a really good ladder pick. I don't think he'll be like a pro play pick, but I think he'll be a pretty good ladder pick, and he'll be a amazing shield buster. And lower level Doomfist who, like, Ian and just pop their block, you just the whole time, just blow them up. But now it's time to get to the parts where I'm actually, like, legitimately just, my mind has just left the building. I don't even know what you're doing anymore. Sojourn. For those who don't know, Sojourn's been dominating high level play. And people are even saying, like, in Diamond and Plat, they've been getting a lot of Sojourns. Energy delay before draining reduced from 8 to 5 seconds. That's good. That means, so Sojourns in high rank play were just, like, building ult, and then they would just keep tapping the tank every few seconds to just keep it going, and then they would jump up and one-tap people when the fight started. So that's a good change. Secondary fire damage fall off, starting in range, reduced from 70 to 40. So the one tap now went and is reduced from 70 meters to 40 meters. Chat, do you know how far 40 meters is in Overwatch? That's far. Like, unless you're fighting on Junkertown, there's not many times where 40 meters is, like, that far. But, okay. And by the way, that's the starting range. But we're not there yet. Secondary fire critical damage multiplier reduced from 2 to 1.5. Oh, okay. So she's not one-tapping people in the head anymore. It's 1.5 right now. It only does 195 damage now. Huh. Secondary fire damage now scales linearly with energy from 30 to 130 damage. 1 energy converts to 1 damage added. That's going to get important here in a sec. Primary fire damage projectile per projectile increased from 9 to 10. So her regular left click, if you have them swapped, her secondary fire, her build up to the railgun, the non-railgun shot, damage went from 9 to 10. And the overclock energy charge rate increased by 20%. Chat, do you understand what that means? That means she's building the railgun 20% faster. And on top of that, does one extra tick of damage. So it goes off of how much damage she deals with her left click. So one, I don't think they compensated for this. One, she's going to build it faster because she's doing more damage. And two, she's going to get it 20% faster. So you'll feel it the most when you end up doing the this ends now. So instead of this ends now, zip, boom, zip, boom, it's going to be this ends, zip, boom, ship, boom, ship, boom, ship, boom, ship, boom. So instead of like 5 or 6 shots going off, it's going to probably be closer to 8, I bet. That's what I think. It's probably going to be closer to 8 shots now. Is things ending? Absolutely. So there's actually a big problem that they forgot. For those of you who are new to Overwatch, we had this really bad meta a long time ago where Mercy Pocketed Ashe could one-tap squishies. They realized that was a big mistake, and they made it so that even with damage boost, Ashe only does 195 damage. They did not take that into account with Sojourn. What high-level Sojourn players are doing is having a Mercy Pocket, and they run around the map and just one-tap people. One-tap still one-taps people with Mercy Pocket. So, yeah, Sojourn's not going nowhere. Sojourn's not going anywhere. If anything, she's actually going to be better at fighting like tanks and doing bursts of damage because she's going to have her railgun up more often. I genuinely think this might be a Sojourn buff. I'm not even f***ing with you. This went from basically sitting there and waiting for the Sojourns to one-tap to Sojourn is going to probably do even more damage than she did before. Overclock is the ult. Overclock is the ult, but it's also Overclock just charges her railgun. Her railgun charge speed is still increased. I got to test play against Sojourns, and she is still absolutely nuts. She's still exceptionally good. I would say it's still a must pick. And I think this might be a buff. Genuinely. But that's not all. Oh, that's not all. We still got more. This one's interesting. I don't think this one's that bad, but Symmetra. Beam charge rate and decay rate increased by 20%. Primary fire ammo consumption rate increased from 7 to 10 per second, but primary fire gains ammo from damaging barriers again. She ramps up very fast. Very, very fast now. It's kind of insane. I think Sim is going to be very interesting to see. I don't know if she's going to be good or not, but that's a very interesting change. I'm not a Sim mastermind, so we'll see. But next is Tracer. Tracer's damage increased from 5 to 6. Tracer's back to Overwatch 1 damage. Tracer Sojourn meta incoming. Tracer is exceptionally powerful. Exceptionally powerful. It was not fun to play against Tracer. Next up is Ana. Ana got a small buff. Her cooldown reduced from 15 to 14 seconds. Ooh, big buff. Kiriko. Arm hit volumes with reduced by 15%. so they watch my stuff. Added an auto wall climb hero option, but we're still got more. Ultimate cost increased by 10%. Movement speed boot bonus reduced from 50 to 30%. Cooldown rate reduced from 3 to 2 times faster. Suzu cast time reduced from 0.15 to 0.1 seconds. Kunai ammo increased from 12 to 15. And Swift Step ability input can now be held to activate. Kiriko got pretty hard nerfed. Because Kiriko's biggest thing was her ultimate. Her ultimate is what made her insane. Basically, Overwatch League high-level players were just playing to play off her ult. That is a significant from 3 to 2 times faster, and from 50% to 30%. and a 10% increased cost, I think she'll still be okay. I think she'll still be good. But that's some pretty heavy nerfs in a season where support is going to probably be in the worst spot. I think if there's ever a season for a support player to rise up and actually be angry, it'll be this one. Don't get me wrong. I've been the person that, even in the beta, and we'll talk about it, back in the betas, I thought support players were being a little bit unreasonable, asking for crazy buffs because their heroes didn't get anything and they hadn't had any new characters, which it was totally understandable to be upset that there was no new characters in the beta. But I thought they were like things like the Zen kick they were funny and they were fun, but I don't know if they'd be good for the game long term. And there was a bunch of changes that were made. They were charged like the self-healing changes were made. You know, Moira got that weird necrotic orb. There was so many things. And I personally thought that people were going crazy because they hadn't got anything cool like the DPS or the super tank players had gotten. But if there's ever a season to actually be upset, it's going to be this one, I think. I think support players are going to be basically playing Dead by Daylight. So next up, my favorite change of them all, Mercy. Mercy got 2 buffs. Weapon swap time reduced from 0.5 to 0.35, and her ammo's increased from 20 to 25. Now, we just listened to the Twitter sphere, and their explanation of this buff was for if a Mercy player gets caught out on their own and has to defend themselves. Do you know how idiotic that sounds, though? To a lot of people. Like, to me personally, it sounds dumb, and I'm sorry. Like, I don't want to, I'm trying not to be, like, too disrespectful, but it genuinely makes no sense, because what makes Mercy good is not her damage, it's her ability to survive. Every good Mercy player I've ever played with is always, 1, the last person to die, and 2, has exceptional movement. And they also said in the Twitter sphere that Mercy's win rate climbs pretty heavily when you go from low ranks to high ranks. Like, as you go up the ranks, Mercy's win rate goes up quite a bit. I also think that they didn't take into account that Mercy's probably has a high win rate right now because Sojourn has a really high win rate in the high level play. Don't hear me out on this. If Sojourn has a really high win rate in high level play, and Mercy's really good at pocketing the Sojourn to make sure that they can have the most effective value, wouldn't that make sure that Mercy then also has a high win rate because it's connected to the Sojourn? Oh, we didn't think of that? Oh. I feel bad. This is every Mercy player. Oh man, I actually feel genuinely bad. And I actually feel bad for most people because this sends the message that you should be doing damage with Mercy and being Battle Mercy. That's not how you play Mercy. Playing Battle Mercy is genuinely like a throw. The only time Battle Mercy is like exception is like okay is like in Velk and they have like a Widow or something like that. Like something where like they're not that mobile and like you have the biggest hitbox for your gun in all time and you can basically just deal with them yourselves like really easily. But like people are going to probably be playing a lot more Battle Mercy in your games in the next week or two, so good luck with that. We still have the shitty map pools, man. This game's been out for 6 years, and we are in map pools. We don't even have all the maps, so guess what? We get all the push maps. They're still in. Blizzard World's in. Overcast. It looks beautiful, by the way. It looks nice. And we get Shambali Monastery, which is another map, which actually looks good. I'm a little nervous. It's always fighting uphill. But it has a lot of flanks, and I heard from other players that I played with, like other like content creators and whatnot, they didn't think it was that bad because there's a lot of flanks, but as a tank player, you're not flanking a lot. So I actually ended up having to fight uphill most of the time, which was not the most fun. But everyone else was saying it didn't feel that bad with the flanks, so take that as you will. New Nepal and Oasis, morning and evening. Wait, is there no Numbani? I thought Numbani was coming back. Oh, Rialto's back. Rialto's back. That's cool. But no Numbani? Yeah, so we lost Gibraltar and Hollywood out of the map pool. Havana, I think, is still out. But it's like, dude, I hate it, though. Like, I feel like I play push every other game, and it's like, dude, it's just ass, man. Like I said this before, but it feels like we're playing NHL. NHL did this one season where they took away my player, and then they brought it back the next season as like a new game mode. And it's like, bro, what do you mean? We already had this game mode before. Like, what are you talking about? And it's like, I really hate map pools. I honestly, I thought I was gonna be way more like, you know, upset going over these, but I think the Twitter sphere kind of got a lot of it out of me because I was losing my shit laughing at some of it. But this is genuinely some of the worst changes I think that this season could have got. And it sucks because a lot of people gave them the benefit of the doubt, and a lot of people gave good faith because they said things like they wanted every season to feel unique. They wanted every season to feel different. This is just going to be it's going to be the Sojourn season with Doomfist now instead. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention Hog is still exceptionally good. So what you'll have is the Doom players and the Hog players. The Hog players will be trying to play like the anti-Doomfist comps, and the Doomfist will be trying to kill everybody and then deal with the Hog comps. Because if that makes sense, right? Like they'll be trying to bait out the hook and then kill all the squishies and then turn for the Hog with like their team. So those are going to be your two metas. You're gonna have Sojourn with Hog, and you're gonna have Sojourn with Doomfist. Like that. Those are your two options for this season. And like, dude, like you just changed the tank. Changing the tank didn't change the meta. It's probably still going to be Lucio Kiriko, maybe Mercy in there. She did get some big buffs. So I'm just really upset about this. I actually think this is probably some of the worst changes we could have got for this season. And yeah. Oh, we got Ramattra. I'm not going to get to play him, but hey, maybe I'll do some quick play just to get to play him for a little bit and have fun. All I can say is I'm really disappointed with the balance again of this season, and I've said this before. My good faith on balance